Welcome to the Caution Wet Paint Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Graham, and I'm extremely excited to introduce our newest guest, Mike Spellman. Now, before we say hello to him, I want to give you a proper introduction, Mike. Mike Spellman's life intersects Christian faith, leadership, service, compassion. He spent 35 years in the media industry. He then made a transition to education, where he now inspires young minds as a middle school teacher of English and social studies at St. Pius School. His commitment is also to community outside of that. He is a co-founder of Plymouth's Special Olympics program, where he actually coaches his oldest son, Tim, and an advocate for athletes with special needs. Beyond the classroom and the sports field, Mike leads Bible studies, sharing his faith, fostering spiritual growth in others. His story, I think you're going to like this. It's one of purpose, unwavering commitment to make a difference, whether it's in the media, the classroom, the church, or on the field with the Special Olympics. So after that, let's welcome Mr. Mike Spellman. Mike, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Scott. How about yourself?
Very good. Thank you. So I am very excited about having you on here just based on everything that you're involved with. So let's start off, Mike, first by asking you, you're involved in Special Olympics, you're coaching Special Olympics. How many years have you been involved with the organization?
I figure it's going on 27 now. I think we started a program. I had my son Tim signed up for youth sports when he was like 6, 7, 8, 9. Tim's the oldest of my 4 boys, and it became apparent because of his special needs and his handicaps that at about the age of 9 he couldn't compete at that level with boys. So I'd become friendly with a special needs teacher in the Plymouth school system, Carol Cristani is her name. And she and I just started talking about creating a Special Olympics program here in Plymouth. And, it was a couple meetings, fill out a couple forms. And before too long, we had a program. And because of Carol's connections, we were able to get several athletes signed up right away. And I've been involved with it ever since, pretty much year round at this point.
So Carol was the one that got you involved in the Special Olympics. I know your son probably had, your son Tim had something to do with it, but was she the one that got you involved in it?
She was, yeah. I mean, she was the one who just kind of knew how to get the ball rolling. I was just a parent who'd been involved in sports all his life, and was already involved in coaching at that point with Tim and my other boys. So it just seemed kind of a natural progression. When they needed a Special Olympics coach, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And, kind of following the role. My dad coached me and my brothers and sisters and everything growing up. So coaching was kind of like second nature. So I was happy to get involved.
So Mike, you've been involved with Special Olympics for some time now. Yes. What is your role now? Has it evolved? I mean, what are you doing with them at the present day?
Okay, yeah. Well, I coached. I was head coach of the Plymouth program for about 9 years, and what happened was kind of merged with the Wareham program, and Wareham had more athletes, and they had an existing basketball program, and that was Tim's favorite. So we just started doing a joint Plymouth-Wareham program, but over time, I was able to recruit another coach for Plymouth, so I became more involved with the Wareham program, and now I'm coaching continuing to coach basketball, but also we just ended the basketball season, but we're rolling into softball in a couple of weeks, and then after that, it's we split our athletes between flag football and soccer. I coach soccer. So in Plymouth, actually Plymouth no longer has a program. They didn't have enough athletes stay involved, but I'm actually hoping to get that started again. I've got somebody I've recruited that I hope can start coaching their team.
Now, when you recruit them, is there any NIL money for them, or is this volunteer stuff?
No, we do get some money. It's Federal Olympics. Does provide some for startup, but basically most of the operating income we have is through various fundraisers that the athletes and myself help put on. So, but yeah, we do get some money from this through state funds.
Okay.
That's SOMA, Special Olympics Massachusetts.
Now, you mentioned that you're doing basketball, you're doing softball. I mean, sounds like it's a year-round thing. How do you stay motivated to continue coaching year-round? Because I'm sure it takes a lot of personal time and effort.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think I take as much, if not more, out of it than the athletes. Just again, I've been coaching other sports. I've got 3 other sons who I've coached in a lot of different sports. And what makes Special Olympics, I think, unique is you just show the kids a little bit of interest, a little bit of coaching, and they just lap it up. They love the attention, they love the positive reinforcement, and whatever positive thing you can say to kind of to give them not just encouragement but confidence, I think is they just love it. And so it's, for me, it started out maybe as a bit of a like a chore and having to go to the practices and the games, but now, as I said on top, I think I get as much out of it as them, because I love seeing, and not to sound insulting, but how kind of simple minded they are. And that's a good thing, is they appreciate everything we do for them. And it's refreshing, and it's and the thing is, because so many of these kids haven't been involved in athletics for most of their lives, to just kind of tap into their abilities and give them good coaching, they really do improve by leaps and bounds sometimes. So it's pretty easy to see that, for them to see also that, wow, this is rewarding for me. And I think it doesn't just build more confidence on the various playing fields, but it builds more confidence in general for them as individuals. So it's pretty rewarding to just be a part of something like that.
Now, do you travel around the New England area, or is it just in the Plymouth location? Do you do some traveling outside of New England?
It's primarily, well, actually, in recent years, it's been nothing but New England, and actually just Massachusetts, a little bit like maybe Rhode Island, but for the most part, just Massachusetts. What we do is we get involved in regional games. So we're part of the Cape and Islands group with Wareham, so we'll play games like in this past basketball season. We played games in Sandwich. We played games on the South Shore in Pembroke. So the regional games, which are pretty much weekly during the season, keep us pretty local. But then, of course, there's always a state games, and that's generally in Central Mass. The last couple of years, it's been like out in the Worcester area. It's like a one-day thing. But, of course, going way back, it was always like a weekend, be it, we used to have to spend weekends at like UMass Amherst. But after COVID, it just became one-day events, state championships, and so it's not, it's a pretty easy lift nowadays. It's like it's a full like Saturday or Sunday, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Now, if somebody wanted to donate or get involved, is there a website we could promote here? And
it's it's SOMA, SOMA.org, I believe, which is Special Olympics Massachusetts. All the funding goes through them, but they could certainly mention Wareham or Plymouth, and the funds would get allocated to us. So SOMA.org.
All right. Well, if it sparks your interest to donate, or if you want to get involved in some way or somehow, SOMA is the website.
Yes.
So, Mike, I know that you are a strong man of faith.
Yes.
How does your faith play into this commitment, if at all?
Okay. Well, I mean, I think what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount is, what you do for the least of these, you've done for me, or what you don't do for the least of these, you have not done for me. So it's just I think if you have Christ in your heart and you have a commitment to the Lord, we're called to give back. I mean, especially when He's given us certain giftings and proclivities. Like for me, I mean, sports is a way of life. I've competed in sports all my life, and I enjoy coaching. So because that's the way God wired me, I'm thinking, okay, where can I use those gifts to the glory of God? And obviously, Special Olympics, as I said, what you do for the least of these, you've done for me, is the words of Jesus. It just seemed to be a natural outflowing of the Spirit working through me. So, and as I said, I truly believe that I get as much out of it, if not more, than the athletes themselves. So yeah.
So speaking with that, let's segue from, being a strong man of faith. Tell me a little bit about more how you, make faith part of your everyday life, whether it be on the field, in the classroom, or, in the social aspects of church.
I mean, I'm pretty heavily involved at church here in Plymouth, New Hope Chapel of Plymouth, which is just it's a fast growing non-denominational evangelical church here in Plymouth. We just opened our own building on Long Pond Road, Joshua's Way. And I've been involved with the church for going on 18 years now. And for me, it's like, where do my gifts kind of prompt me to plug in? With me, obviously, teaching is one of them. We do a membership. We don't call it membership at New Hope. We call it partnership. Well, I've been teaching the partnership course we have there at New Hope really for about the last 12, 13 years, just to get people more involved in the church, knowing what New Hope is about, and also, kind of showing them, what God's promptings might be in their life. I also lead a few of the Bible studies at New Hope. I lead one for, again, special needs adults, and my partnership with New Hope has kind of opened up opportunities for me to recruit some young people and young adults into that. And I do that, twice a month. We meet. I also lead a pretty large men's study on Saturday mornings where we just go through the Bible kind of verse by verse. And that's something I enjoy. I try to stay in the weekly teaching schedule at New Hope during service. I teach the elementary school age once a month. I teach the middle school once a month, and as I said, I also teach the membership course at least once or twice a month. So pretty much every Sunday, if I'm not ushering, I'm teaching as well. So it's, whatever God's kind of prompted or put on my heart to do, I feel like I'm just kind of following His lead.